Is your AC too small? Which is one of the biggest questions that I get. People wanting to know if their air conditioner is too small. And of course, why do they ask that question? They ask that question because they're uncomfortable in their home. And so you feel uncomfortable, you feel too warm, especially when you're sleeping. You know, you're sweating in your bedroom and you're like, geez, Pete, there's got to be a better way. I think my air conditioner is too small. Or you go out and you look at the thermostat and it's not keeping up in the heat of the day. And so first off, we design our AC systems for Central Florida to achieve a 75-degree indoor temperature at a 95-degree outdoor temperature. So if it's 95 degrees outside, we want to be able to keep the inside of your house at 75 degrees and 50% relative humidity. That's very comfortable. Sometimes that doesn't always work out that way, though. The way that we size air conditioners is based on a model, and that model is called Manual J. And Manual J is only as good as the information you put into it, but the information you put into it is only as good as the details that you know. Because, for example, when we go look at a home, we don't know exactly what the insulation is in your walls. We don't necessarily have all of the original product data from your windows. We don't necessarily know how many friends you're going to have over for your party. There's a lot of different factors that impact how big your air conditioner needs to be. How we size an air conditioner is based on something called heat gain and heat loss. And so in the winter, how much heat does your house lose? And in the summer, how much heat does your house gain? A lot of people will ask, well, my house is a 3,000 square foot house. What size air conditioner should I have? And that really has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with the square footage of your house. It has nothing to do with the cubic footage of your house. It has everything to do with how much heat is entering and leaving your house. And that varies with a lot of different factors, such as what sort of attic insulation do you have? What sort of insulation is in your walls? What kind of windows do you have? What direction are the windows facing? How many people are living in the house? What sorts of appliances do you have in the house? And so on and so on and so on. I'll give a perfect example of this. I live in a house that probably a normal family of maybe 5 or 6 would live in. Well, I have 10 kids in my house, and so we have far more occupants. That means we run the dryer more. That means we run the washer more. That means we cook at home more. All of those things add heat to the home. And so if somebody built my house with the intention of 6 people living in it and now 12 people live in it, then it's probably going to be a little undersized, or potentially. And so we have to look at not only the structure, but how the structure is being lived in order to try to make our best guess at what size your air conditioner should be. And we use that model for doing that called Manual J. But a lot of people have this sense that Manual J is perfect, and it can't be perfect because it's a model, and we're making certain assumptions about the equipment. So when you are uncomfortable in your house, my first thing I'm going to do is look at the entire structure. We're going to look at it, and we're going to look at what is the relative humidity. Is it maintaining temperature? What is the relative humidity? And then we're going to start to look at ways to reduce the heat entering your home rather than increasing the size of your air conditioner. If there's any way to make your home comfortable by reducing the heat going into your home or using some other strategies like maybe a ventilating dehumidifier, that is going to be money better spent than putting in a bigger air conditioner, because putting in a bigger air conditioner means you need to put in bigger ducts. It means you may need to put in bigger copper. It may mean you need to put in bigger electrical wires. There's all kinds of things that go into putting a bigger air conditioner in other than just slapping in a bigger tonnage unit. And that's a common misunderstanding from consumers. Unfortunately, a lot of AC contractors, when somebody is unhappy with how big their unit is, for lack of a better word, they just put in a larger unit and they don't make all those other upgrades, which leads to all sorts of disasters. It can lead to moisture problems, which lead to yucky, creepy crawlies growing. It can lead to early breakdowns of the equipment, lots of warranty issues, so on and so forth. So I do not just take one air conditioner and put in a bigger air conditioner. It is almost never the best solution. Generally speaking, we're going to start with air sealing. We're going to look at insulation. We're going to look at other options before we increase the size of an air conditioner. Because unless your unit was put in, decades and decades ago, every unit that was installed in Florida new had to be installed using that model, Manual J. And the company who did it may not have done it quite right, but usually those guesses are pretty close. Actually, more often than not, systems may be oversized versus undersized, and that is something I will do. If a system is oversized, then we will reduce the size of the system, because reducing the size of the system increases the efficiency in almost every case. Also increases the ability for it to dehumidify, because the more a system runs, the longer the run times, as long as we can maintain that 75-degree indoor temperature that we're looking to achieve even on hot days, the longer that it can run, the better it's going to be from an efficiency standpoint, and the better it's going to be from a humidity removal standpoint. Because in order for a system to dehumidify, it has to be running. That's just the nature of it. So when you ask the question, is my air conditioner too small? It's a complicated question. We got to look at models. We got to look at all that. But generally speaking, I think it's kind of the wrong question. My question would be, how can we reduce the amount of heat that's entering your home? Because if you feel your air conditioner is too small, you feel that for a reason. You probably feel it because you're uncomfortable, right? If you're uncomfortable, let's look at what we can do to reduce the heat, humidity load, ceiling insulation, all these other things that we can do that are going to be a very good long-term value from your home rather than just sticking in a larger air conditioner. And trust me, there's money in putting in larger air conditioners. There's companies that do it all the time. That's just not the business that I want to be in. I want to be in the business of finding really good solutions that are going to make you and your family more comfortable and more healthy in the long run. And right-sizing equipment is always going to produce a better outcome than oversizing your equipment. So hopefully you found that helpful. We'll catch you on the next video.